my sound is in full effect, so I won't be sounding choppy. Give me just a second. Okay, we sound live and direct and clear. So I don't need this. Okay. Okay. All right, guys. I wanted to do a video that I was planning to do earlier, but I got so caught up in going to the grocery store and doing this and that that I didn't get a chance to do it. But now I'm doing it now, right before I go to bed, because I just took a goddamn Alka Seltzer. So I'll try to be as quick as possible. If not, then I'll stay on until I get sleepy, and then I know to take my ass to bed. Anyway, it was an article according to TotalSports.com. Shout out to them. Daryl Lincoln he did an interview with Tyrod Taylor, and he said this might seem controversial, but I have to dig deep and realize what Tyrod Taylor is saying. And according to Tyrod Taylor, he said that Black American quarterbacks are heavier than white quarterbacks. While most are average or below average, black quarterbacks are usually shown the door once they struggle in the league. Most white quarterbacks are undoubtedly worse, can sustain a 10-year plus career. His comments is, it's always going to be quarterbacks that's twice as bad as I am. As a black quarterback, echoing a familiar frame among people of color, regardless of professional status, to a certain standard. I wouldn't just say it's an African American thing, it's an African American athlete thing. But discuss the notion that most African American passes are labeled as a mobile quarterbacks. And while noting that Aaron Rodgers and Derek Carr are both athletic, he also said that black quarterbacks are mobile from out the gate. And they claim that we're not pocket passers and that is not accurate at all. One guy being Byron Leftwich of the Jacksonville Jaguars prior to him getting his position taken. Now, I'll say something to this. Hold on. I hope. Let me tell you. I think I need to turn this website off. You hear some clicking noise. I apologize for that. But I've been telling people this for ever since I'm in high school that the NFL does not respect the black quarterback. They never have. They never did. I've been telling these people this since I was 14 years old. I've seen over years, and this is going on probably 20 years. And I'm approaching 34 years old now. So I've been seeing this for years. I kind of knew it as a little kid, but my eyes opened right at 14 years old. Because the way they did and Warren Moon, that was blatant in itself. So it was blatant in itself. Excuse me. That didn't sound right, but the way they did Randall Cunningham and Warren Moon was absolutely. I realized that when John Kitna got a starting position over fucking Warren Moon. Now we all realized that John Kitna had grown to suck ass in the NFL. This motherfucker came back from being a school teacher at a private school and ended up getting an NFL job at 40 fucking years old. We know this as an indisputable fact. But the fact that a motherfucking John Kitna was able to take the position of the legendary quarterback Warren Moon was absolutely ridiculous and a fucked up ass catastrophe in itself. Because John Kitna went on to play two or three good more years, and he turned out to suck all out ass as a fucking quarterback. There's no dispute to that. John Kitna sucked ass, and he took a legendary quarterback's position, and it was fucked up. The way the NFL did Warren Moon, the way the Houston Oilers organization / Tennessee Titans organization did Warren Moon was absolutely ridiculous. That was just so fucking ridiculous. Because the man should have been drafted in the NFL probably 7 years before he even got in the NFL. That's how good Warren Moon was. And Warren Moon was trying his best to hide his mobility. According to interviews, this is nothing I'm just saying, this is interviews he said out of his own mouth that he tried to hide his mobility. And he ended up going to the CFL, and we already know he won like 5 straight Grey Cups, if I'm not mistaken. But the way the NFL did Warren Moon, other black quarterbacks of the past, forcing them to change their position in the NFL, or those guys end up having to go to the CFL, was a fucking beast right there. And fucking ridiculous in itself. So for Tyrod Taylor to come up and say this, even Cam Newton said this during his Super Bowl run, that being a black quarterback scares people. Now, Cam Newton went back on the coon train, with half a cross-dressing ass, and yes, he is a cross-dresser. But I'm glad at that particular time he spoke up about black quarterbacks. This is obvious. People should not be surprised at this comment at all, because soon as a black quarterback fucks up, he is absolutely shown the door. And Tyrod Taylor, other black quarterbacks in the league see this. This explains why Colin Kaepernick is not in the NFL right now. Because I think if he was playing any other position in the NFL, he probably would get away with the situation. I'm just it would be hard to convince me that he wouldn't get another crack at the NFL being a wide receiver, a running back, or any other position. But the fact that he's a black quarterback, a position that nobody's ever respected, black quarterback, not white quarterback, the black quarterback. Nobody has ever respected the black quarterback. This is one of the reasons why Colin Kaepernick has been blackballed. And the funny thing about it is, Colin Kaepernick is probably better than 15 quarterbacks in the NFL, if not 20. And let me give you guys a secret. The 49ers organization fucked that team up over fucking night. Coach, they was fucking with the players, and they expected Colin Kaepernick to work out some fucking magic to bring y'all team to the playoffs. That's not going to happen. Even Tom Brady had to have help. If you notice throughout Tom Brady's 16, 17-year NFL career, he's had a good defense of some sort. They might have gave up 30 points, but they might have been a good goal line defense, a good defense at forcing turnovers. At some point that defense, greatness to them. They were great enough to go to the Super Bowl. With Colin Kaepernick, they took away all of his key elements in him obtaining a championship, because in order to be a Super Bowl winning quarterback consistently, you have to have some type of good defense. You don't have to have the best defense in the world, but you have to have a defense that can stop a team when it matters the fucking most. This is why I am not watching the NFL this year, and probably won't ever watch it again. If Colin Kaepernick gets back in NFL, then maybe I'll take a look at the game, or at least watch Colin Kaepernick. And then this shit with Ezekiel Elliott, which should have been thrown out of court. I'm speaking on the NFL suspension part. The NFL suspending Ezekiel Elliott should have been thrown out of court, and this guy should be allowed to play. Roger Goodell, the fucking commissioner of the NFL, should get tossed that as a commissioner. This dude is clearly racist. I'm saying that, yes, this motherfucker is racist. He's a motherfucking white supremacist. and the shit that this dude do, he deserves to get his ass kicked out the NFL. The owners need to get together, which I doubt they're gonna do, but I'm just making suggestions. The owners need to get together and get this whole ass motherfucker out the league. But I digress. Let me get back to my subject at hand. The NFL has never respected the black quarterback, and this plays a factor, a major factor at Colin Kaepernick. They already don't like uppity Negroes in sports, period. But Colin Kaepernick is an uppity Negro and a black quarterback. That's an extra strike against you because we already don't like our nigger quarterbacks anyway. If you don't get us to the Super Bowl, we're going to throw your nigger ass up out of there. And that's what the NFL has done with Colin Kaepernick. Now, is that an excuse? Absolutely not, because Colin Kaepernick is better than fucking Gay Cutler. All these other quarterbacks that been signed up to teams, half these quarterbacks don't even deserve the opportunity to be in the NFL. They should got thrown out of the league in their second year. Second fucking year. Not their third, fourth, fifth, or sixth. Their second year in the league. But I've been seeing little commentary. When I was watching the NFL last year, you ought to just see some of the comments fucking Troy Aikman says in those games. Like last year during the Cowboy game. And I bullshit you not. You can go watch NFL Network, the rerun of the Cowboys divisional playoff game at home. This motherfucker, Troy Aikman, with his suspected white supremacist ass, has said that the Cowboys need to consider getting Tony Romo off the bench to make a comeback. Remember, they was down 21 shit. And this dude said they need to consider bringing Tony Romo in the game. This motherfucker said this. Go back to the replay, the game replay. Troy Aikman has always said slick shit about black quarterbacks. And everything that black quarterbacks do is not good enough for the announcers like Troy Aikman. They always say slick shit about black quarterbacks. Oh, he should have thrown that a little bit on. Everything these motherfuckers do is not good enough. All you got to do is listen to the game very closely. If you're still a football fan and you watching football, which I don't recommend any black person to waste their eyes on the NFL, waste their tailgate money to I don't recommend any black person, whether you're a Cowboy fan or not, to watch the fucking NFL. All you got to do is take a look at the announcers and listen to the way they talk about black quarterbacks. Well, you got to get rid of that ball. Oh, you just a little bit overthrow it. And the ball be in the receiver's hand. It'd be a catchable fucking ball. Are able to catch it, but somehow they'll blame the black quarterback for just being black and throwing the ball to a nigga. All you got to do is listen to those games. I'm talking about NFL games. Nothing a black quarterback can do, according to these fucking announcers, nothing these guys can do that's good in the game. When their quarterback's making bad, fucked up mistakes, they will say all types of slick ass comments throughout the game. Well, he shouldn't have ran the ball up the field. He's got to slide sometimes. Oh, he just overthrew his receiver. Oh, he just did this. It's unwarranted criticism in these games. If you listen to these fucking announcers, or even go back to old NFL footage, you will see that shit. I remember Titan fan. I'm still a Titans fan, but I'm not watching that shit. I'm not watching all that shit by the NFL. But I remember the late Steve McNair playing. And the way the announcer says, when Steve McNair played good, they cheered him on. there wasn't much that they can say. But when the Titans played bad, even if Steve McNair, if the loss wasn't Steve McNair's fault, they will say all types of fuck shit about Steve McNair at the time. So me being a Titans fan and having a black quarterback, and that includes Vince Young, the Vince Young era, do some of that time. You know, at least fucking 12 years that I was watching them, it was just gut wrenching. Some, you know, for lack of a better term, that shit pissed me off. Because Steve McNair would do everything he can to help his team win, and those announcers would just grill McNair. But it wasn't until McNair died that a lot of those guys gave that dude any kind of respect. It ain't until a lot of these guys out of the league that they get any kind of respect. Look at Donovan McNabb at Philadelphia. And I'm not saying McNabb was the best player in the world, but they would criticize the dude for shit. And his career ended sooner than what it was, and a lot of that was the offensive line. This dude was sacked 400 plus times in his career. A lot of that was offensive line's fault. But this dude took fucked up criticism. You know, when Donovan McNabb was on, you know, the announcers didn't have shit to say. But when he made mistakes and his team was losing, all the blame went to Donovan McNabb. Look at Peyton Manning throughout those years. They always tried to find a way to not blame Peyton Manning. Now, granted, the divisional round that year where they lost to the Colts, you know, that year, that was clearly on the receiver's fault. But there was a couple of games where Manning was having bad games and they would criticize the defense more than they would criticize Peyton Manning. And Peyton Manning would be just straight up fucking up. And don't get me wrong, I like Manning as a quarterback, but there were some times where he did not receive the same backlash that his defense did. You know, so it is what it is. The NFL has never respected the black quarterback. And that's really the only position that white athletes really have. Because if you look at soccer, mostly non-black people is dominating soccer. If you look at tennis, especially women's tennis, tennis is still relatively dominated by white people on the male side, but that's because not a lot of black people is playing tennis. Black men is playing tennis. But as far as the sisters, you know, you look at Sloane Stevenson, she's dominating the shit. The Williams sisters was dominating in the shit. You know, going to semifinals, quarterfinals every year. You look at golf, when we have enough golfers playing, yes, Tiger Woods, Vijay Singh, kick the shit out the motherfucker's ass. You know, the NBA, you can't really make no slick criticism of basketball players the same way you do black quarterbacks or football players. You just can't do it. The only thing you can do, you have to resort to what's going on in the outside, do little slick shit by showing their parents, well, not even their parents, showing their mama, showing a single mother. They'll do slick shit like that, but you can't really get away with criticizing an NBA player the same way you get away with criticizing the black quarterback. Because the quarterback position is pretty much is white dominated, and that's done by design. Because that's the last position they can have a say so. Because when you say somebody is a quarterback on your team, that's like the leader of your team. Even in baseball is, you know, you got white dudes, Japanese dudes, so it's pretty much diverse there, you know. So it's a balance there. But in the NFL, the white quarterback is literally dying off. As you see, look at Aaron Rodgers. What happened to Aaron Rodgers today? Thank you. Thank you, Craig. I just saw that comment. I apologize. I didn't see that. Yep. He threw for 350 yards and still lost, and he still got the blame. Exactly. Exactly, dog. Exactly. I'm just not reading the comments. But if you look at all sports, with baseball, it's equal across the board because they just not open the the floodgates, for lack of a better term, for Japanese players and uh, Hispanic players all over the world. So it's equal in the pitching department because the pitcher is pretty much the leader of the leader of the baseball team, just like the quarterback position is. First, talking about the thing about black quarterbacks is they only have been judged to run. They have no time to study the playbook or nothing. I totally agree with that. And then here's another thing with black quarterbacks. They don't teach black quarterbacks how to audible. And if they do know how to audible, uh, as far as they're concerned, if they do know how to audible, they'll take that ability away from them. Offensive coordinators will do that. It is what it is, dog. Because a lot of times, a lot of mistakes that are on the black quarterback is because they're simply not audibling, or the offensive coordinator or the head coach don't allow them to audible the same way white quarterbacks do. Sometimes a lot of those mistakes can be avoided in most cases. First comment, if that's what you're asking, for the most part they don't. You're totally right. You're totally right on that. But with the quarterback position, that's one of those positions to where White Daddy, and we've seen this with Dak Prescott. Look at Jerry Ku Klux Klan member Jones. Yes, I'm saying that, motherfucker, with his goddamn looking ass. I have to get on the Billy Idol grandpappy looking ass motherfucker. This dude was about to put Tony Romo back on the field. Playing is excellent as he was. I think around this time last year, he was about to put Dak Prescott. He was gonna bench Dak Prescott because he wanted Tony Romo to play so fucking bad. And the Cowboy fan base, which was rightfully so, was like, no, we're not having that shit. And I can't blame him. Jerry Jones really did not expect Dak Prescott to be as good as he was. He was not expecting that. But the fans grown to love him, and they was like, you know what? We finna put this. We gotta leave this guy on the field. The fans love him. Prescott is playing so right now. He's the guy of the future, pretty much in the league, though. To see how much it irritates Jerry Jones to have a black quarterback. It just irritates him. Deep down, he wants a white boy to get that glory. He really don't want Dak Prescott to get that glory. And the NFL owners knows this, and everybody else knows this. Reality of the situation is the white quarterback position. They follow mistakes with black quarterbacks, throwing mechanics. The mistakes with black quarterbacks are the following: throwing mechanics, awareness, ability to audible, and football IQ. I think I slightly disagree with that. They have good football IQ, but it's retarded. It's retarded in the locker room. Because look at Warren Moon. Warren Moon mentioned this in his 1993. I think they had an NFL Network thing. Because again, they don't allow black quarterbacks to do certain things. if you think about it, Warren Moon was a docile person, and his last years at Houston, he had to be more stern with his teammates during his last years. But for a long time, they didn't give that dude they don't give him the green light to do that. I think throwing mechanics, that's debatable because there's a lot of guys with throwing mechanics. Awareness, I agree with that. Their ability to audible, I totally agree with that. Football IQ, I can't say is bad. I can't really say that because to be in the NFL, you have to have a football IQ. But I think when it gets in the NFL, it gets retarded by offensive coordinators and head coaches. You know what I'm saying? So, and then your offensive coordinator got to be the one to teach you how to know when to audible and stuff like that. You know, but there's some truth to what you're saying. I'm not saying you're 100% wrong, but there is a little bit of truth to that. There is some truth to it. I'm not gonna completely throw that out of the woodshed. The only thing I can say I disagree with you is football IQ. Football IQ, you got to have some type of IQ to be in the NFL. I mean, but again, it gets retarded. So we can just say that's half truth. There's some half truth to that because if a coach is really limiting your ability to have that football IQ, you can that'll fuck you up in itself. You know. Awareness and leadership. Oh, I agree with that. I totally agree with that. I can't disagree with what you said about Jameis Winston. But again, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers was at fault for letting Lovie Smith go. See, when you got a rookie quarterback, sudden coaching changes are a very fucked up. They should have given Lovie Smith another year or two so he can build a relationship. Because when you just get rid of a head coach and you got a rookie quarterback in itself, you need to build a relationship with an offensive coordinator and you need to build a relationship with the head coach. And if you can't build that relationship with those two guys, if you don't have that type of relationship with those guys, your football career gonna go downhill. Real talk. Look at Joe Montana and what's the head coach? Bill Walsh. Joe Montana needed Bill Walsh. If they had to just fire Bill Walsh, he probably wouldn't have had no NFL career. Now he did go on to Kansas City and become, a decent quarterback. Get his Kansas City Chiefs to the AFC Championship game, but that was a little bit after his legacy was established. But he needed Bill Walsh in those early years. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to build a relationship, and you could probably add that to number 6, and that's relationship with coach. Because, and really, that's more so the mistake of the. That's really more so the mistake of the ownership at that. Because think about it. Notice when you fire these head coaches, it's too soon to fire a guy. You got a rookie quarterback who's supposed to be the leader of your team, and all of a sudden you get rid of his offensive coordinator, you get rid of his relationship. You're out of there. You're expecting football failure. That's why Colin Kaepernick needed Harbaugh. If Harbaugh was still there at the 49ers, Colin Kaepernick would still be there because that relationship would still be there. The issue is they let everybody go all at once, and the 49ers organization went strictly down. So they intentionally sabotaged this career so they could be like, well, hey, nigger, let's see what you can do, Kaepernick. And that shit failed. And the 49ers organization continues to fucking fail. A lot of these teams sabotage these dudes, man. And they expect the black quarterback to do everything until they run them into the ground. I'm not fucking with the NFL at this point. Until somebody signs, yeah, I mean, but they still. I get what you're saying there. He refused to change the offense to get with the times, but again, they can't be. You can't pull the trigger on a guy that quick either. I mean, that's just my conjecture. He needed a relationship with the head coach. You still got to have a relationship with your head coach, a relationship with the offensive coordinator. Look at I think it was either Ray Sherman or Sherman Lewis, but when Brett Favre went to Green Bay, he had a black offensive coordinator. That much I do know. Is it Sherman Lewis or Ray Sherman? One of those guys. It's one of those guys because his first offensive coordinator was a black dude for sure. I can't even think of it, but anyway, he built that relationship was needed. He needed a relationship, and that's what ended up happening. Mike Holmgren staying there do those early growing pains was important for Brett Favre. You got to build around that guy, you know. So they do a lot of shit to black quarterbacks, and they expect success from them until number one they fuck up, and then like Tyrod Taylor said, they get rid of them the moment they start fucking up. So it's crazy. And again, this is why I don't fuck with the NFL. I mean, and this shit been going on since the 50s, man. If you look at some of the history of the black quarterback, all you got to do is do a Google search on the history of the black quarterback. I mean, it was one article I was reading in there with when George Blender, I think he threw like 3 or 4 interceptions at the time. And this was a time when most of the NFL offense was, he still runs that old ass Tampa 2. But the thing is, it works for him, though. It actually works for Lovey. Him running the Tampa 2 actually works for him. The thing is, he just did not. Ray Sherman was the defensive coordinator. So I might be talking about somebody else. It was a black guy who was the offensive coordinator, though. Ray Sherman was the defensive coordinator. You might be right. You're right there. Okay. But it's ridiculous, to say the least. And I'm glad that Tyrod said something about this shit because it needed to be said. This shit needed to be said. I mean, there's no doubt about it. And we need more quarterbacks speaking out, especially black quarterbacks. Even some white guys need to come out and speak out against that because it's crazy. It's crazy, dude. So I agree, though, man. He runs the old Tampa too, but it works for him. Sherman was the offense coordinator. Okay, yeah, that's what I figured. That's what I figured. And black coaches get treated like shit too now. But that's a whole nother conversation in itself. But black quarterbacks, oh shit. Forget about it, dude. If you have a bad season, you're definitely held to a higher standard. You know, McNabb is a prime example. McNair was a prime example. Uh, it's so many examples to name. It's ridiculous, though. No matter what a black quarterback do, if they team loses, they getting that black quarterbacks get that goddamn plane. Best to believe that. It don't take rocket scientists, dog. So this, I agree. He didn't have the player personnel the defensive coordinator, with him hiring Leslie Frazier as the defensive coordinator, that was the ideal hire in terms of defensive coordinator, because Frazier is a pretty good guy. He was a pretty good player in his own right before he got injured in the Super Bowl. But he definitely did not have the player personnel, and Tampa Bay should have realized that. So it is what it is. But again, I've been saying this for years, though. But hopefully something can be done. If not, I don't plan on watching the NFL, period. I don't plan on watching that shit if nothing is done. And if Ezekiel Elliott is suspended, even if Kaepernick's back, that's going to be the only motherfucker I'm watching if Ezekiel Elliott's suspended. I don't plan on watching that shit outside of Kaepernick. That's if he does come back. But I really don't see it. Cap coming back, not this year, maybe next year. And if he's not back next year, then I'm going to continue to boycott this motherfucker. I'm not going to watch a slave plantation. This ain't motherfucking Django up in this motherfucker. This ain't Mandingo up in this motherfucker. You're going to eventually put some respect on the black quarterback. You're going to put some respect on black quarterbacks and black players, period. So, well, I'm going to end this podcast, man. That's just my rant for today. This your boy, Live and Direct. And appreciate my boy Craig Smith. Go subscribe to his channel. He's got a lot of good shit on there. So, and special shout out to Coach Shelton Harrison for doing that interview with Marion right now. If you're not subscribed to Coach Shelton Harrison's Combat Sports Network, then please do that also. So once again, this your boy Live and Direct, in full effect out the 832. They'll already know how I do. Peace out.